And wouldn't it be great to put this all in Dash itself, be it strategizing about how to help Dash best, and then have a Dash-based storage system where all you have to do is just sort of pay more into it. And that's the other thing that's interesting from just the proposal owner perspective and Dash, which is very few people's perspective, but I guess it's some of ours, so why not? People get paid in Dash and then have to convert it somehow to pay bills to deliver on their promise to the Dash network. And I've always, whenever I've had projects, I've always tried to have ones where I could spend everything as directly in Dash as possible. Now, imagine if instead of having to pay for all this extra, like all these extra solutions or whatever to store data, whatever data you need, what if you just use that all in Dash and just kind of roll the whole thing over? That would be very, very interesting.
I'm getting excited about this. So, okay, let's say I'm a third-party developer. I don't know anything about Dash. Evolution comes out. Hopefully, there's going to be some guidelines and resources. And I'm a developer. How do you inspire me? I want to build a DApp on the Dash, on Dash Evolution, the Dash platform. So, what can IPFs do for me as a DApp developer? Like, what advantages do I get from that? Like, get me excited. So, like, I'm a developer. I'm really cool thing. I've worked on other platforms and stuff. It's like, oh, this Dash thing looks interesting. Oh, and I can use IPFS. They've got like this Dash drive thing. Why? What would incentivize me to want to do something on Dash and use the Dash drive as opposed to other solutions?
Our benefits is that we provide some interface API which allow you to store your data on a chain, but in a way how you are storing data in a normal, like common databases. So it's much easier, and you don't need to know Solidity or something like that. This will provide fancy and really useful SDKs.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,271, silver at $14.82, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,403. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, from the Sackler family, who has made billions from selling opioids to the masses, to the doctors arrested for pushing their pills on unwilling Americans, lawsuits and charges in the opioid crisis abound. However, the companies responsible for distribution of the drugs have largely gone unscathed until now. The Free Thought Project reports that in a first in the government's battle against the opioid crisis, the former CEO of one of the largest opioid distribution companies in the country, Rochester Drug Cooperative, and the company itself have been criminally charged with conspiracy. According to federal prosecutors, Rochester Drug Cooperative was charged Tuesday with narcotics conspiracy and conspiracy to defraud the United States. The former CEO of the company, Lawrence Dowd III, was charged with narcotics conspiracy and conspiracy to defraud the Drug Enforcement Administration. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York charged Rochester Drug Cooperative with knowingly and intentionally violating federal narcotics laws by distributing dangerous, highly addictive opioids to pharmacy customers that it knew were being sold and used illicitly. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. 7 Navy SEALs were warned that reporting the alleged war crimes of their teammates and calling for a formal investigation could jeopardize their careers, a Navy criminal investigation report revealed. Chief Special Warfare Operator Edward Eddie Gallagher has been accused of killing an unarmed ISIS fighter with a hunting knife and firing on civilians with a sniper rifle while deployed in Iraq, as well as obstructing justice by attempting to intimidate his fellow SEALs. He allegedly threatened to kill teammates that spoke to authorities about his alleged actions. Gallagher was arrested in September 2018, following allegations of intimidating witnesses and obstruction of justice. He was officially charged in January with premeditated murder, among other crimes. His direct superior is accused of failing to report Gallagher's alleged crimes and burying or destroying evidence. Gallagher, a decorated SEAL who earned a Bronze Star for valor, has pleaded not guilty, and his defense is denying all charges. The Department of Homeland Security says facial recognition technology will be used on 97% of passengers departing the U.S. by 2023. That's according to a report from Activist Post citing The Verge. Already deployed in 17 international airports, including Atlanta, New York City, Boston, San Jose, Chicago, and 2 airports in Houston, DHS systems will photograph and scan passengers at their departure gate, cross-referencing their face against a library of face images from visa and passport applications, as well as those taken by border agents when foreigners enter the country. Last week, JetBlue customer Mackenzie Fegan was shocked after finding out that her face had been scanned in order for her to board the plane. When asked how they knew it was her, JetBlue said the information was provided by DHS from existing holdings. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
While Digital Communications Coordinator Brian Tyler is considered by many of his coworkers to be the cutest guy around the offices of Western Psychological Publishing Services, employees conceded today the 27-year-old is not even particularly attractive.
Brian gets a lot of attention from girls around here, but if I saw him in a bar, I don't know if I would even notice him. Put him next to Glenn or Mike, and then, sure, he actually looks pretty good.
Co-workers explained to reporters that by everyday standards, Tyler would at best be considered moderately good-looking, but explained that given the abundance of unattractive men at the publishing firm, female employees often go out of their way to make small talk with the 27-year-old at his desk or eat lunch with him in the office kitchen.
I saw him walking to work the other day, and half the guys on the street were easily better looking than him. But here, he's the hottest guy around. It's almost kind of sad. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd still f*** him.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome to the Call to Freedom. It is April the 25th of 2019, and I am having a pretty good day. It feels freaking fantastic out here in Keene, New Hampshire. It's about 65 degrees and all of that. It's unusually warm for this time of year, as I hear from people. But I mean,
nice.
I think they're losing perspective about the passage of time, to be totally honest. And I realize that's, bizarre speculation about people that I don't really know, but
no, it's climate change.
Well, I don't know about that, but it is almost May now. We are well within spring at this point throughout the United States. So having it be 60 degrees is not especially shocking to me.
Yeah, wouldn't be especially shocking though if it actually snowed at this time of April either.
Perhaps not. It would be shocking to me,
but not this year.
But I'm used to it being, 80 degrees right now. I'm not sure what the weather actually is in Mississippi, where I'm from.
Mississippi, it's probably about 83 degrees and thunderstorm.
Actually, it's 64 degrees and raining. It appears
Close.
to be in the high 70s on average and low 80s. So, yeah, about like Florida. Of course, Mississippi is extremely close to being qualified as a tropical rainforest.
Yeah.
It's the humidity threshold is about 10% off. It's very hot and very humid.
Hot,
there.
humid, almost swampy.
Well, it is swampy in places, but not in all places. Like my backyard there was somewhat swampy. Although swamp isn't actually the correct designation. I think it would have qualified as a marshland or something to that effect.
Yeah. Oh,
because it wasn't an actual swamp. It
6
was
of one, half dozen of the other.
Well, I mean, there is a difference in that swamps are kind of gross and smelly and filled with reptiles and
alligators.
Yeah. And of course, we don't have that problem where I was from. I did have a problem with my backyard flooding, like 6 feet deep flooding. And that was kind of cool. I mean, you could step out onto the back porch and cast a fishing rod and land a pretty decent chance of catching a fish because it was overflow from a river that did have fish. I never actually bothered to do it because, look at me, do I look like I'm going fishing?
You don't look like a kind of person who would go fishing.
I do not go fishing. I had lots of people always inviting me, hey, we're going, because this is Mississippi, everybody fishes, except me. Everybody fishes and hunts. They're like, let's go fishing, let's go hunting. I'm good on all that, but thanks. I'm going to sit inside and play video games.
It's your hair that's red, not your neck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on who you ask, really. If you ask certain people here, I'm definitely a redneck. I don't have the accent, though, which I'm proud to say.
Oh, yes, you do.
Not, no, I don't. No.
You still got a little bit of it.
I've got a little bit of an accent, sure, but I do not have the Mississippi accent. Not by a long shot. And if you've ever been to Mississippi or been around people from Mississippi, you would know that to be absolutely true.
Oh, yeah, it does get stronger.
Yeah. Oh, it gets significantly stronger. I mean, especially in the places where I'm from, where it really made me angry that my nephew did not have any accent whatsoever until he began going to school. And the teachers began talking like this. So he came back home, and within a few months of starting kindergarten, he had a full-on redneck Southern accent. And it was extremely frustrating to me because he spoke very clearly prior to that.
That's disappointing.
It is. And it was the school system that caused that because none of the teachers actually learned to speak correctly. So anyway, what's happening today is interesting stuff. The Satanic Temple has apparently been granted tax-exempt status by the IRS, which is interesting for me because I am, in fact, giving strong consideration to the possibility of opening a Satanic Temple here in Keene.
Oh, that will be fun.
It will be fun, and that would be the primary reason I would do it. I expect the results from doing that to be interesting, although this isn't Mississippi, right? If I did this in Mississippi, it would be... I kind of wish I was doing this in Mississippi. In fact,
people would get their pitchforks and torches out.
Oh, they absolutely would. I mean, this tranny opened a Satanic temple in rural Mississippi. Why didn't I do this while I was there?
It never occurred to you, probably.
It didn't. Because, I mean, strictly speaking, excuse me.
Yeah, that's something you just don't see in rural Mississippi, not openly.
No, and strictly speaking, I'm not a Satanist, but Satanism is kind of a weird thing that is very poorly misunderstood in the first place. A better descriptor for Satanism would in fact be humanism. And I'm not even a humanist because I think that's kind of egotistical on behalf of our species to be like, we're defining our existence and our philosophy based on the existence of our particular species. I'm an earthist, I would say, not a humanist. And even that, I would say I'm only an earthist because as far as we know, there's no other life forms outside of Earth for me to consider as being equally important to my own. Although I'm sure there are, I can't as yet include them into my general philosophy about spreading love and peace and all of that.
We don't know anything about them yet.
Right. And when we do find out something about them, Stephen Hawking, prior to his death, he was a bit concerned about programs like SETI and things like that because the possibility of running into extraterrestrial life that was more advanced than us were considerable because the universe is about 13.5 billion years old and humans are not nearly that old. I think humans are about 125,000 years old, somewhere in that range.
Not very old. You know, the thing I suspect, I obviously can't prove this, but what I suspect is that if there is extraterrestrial life and it comes this way, it's going to consider us so primitive that we're hardly worth bothering with.
I'm not sure I would agree. It will consider us about the same way that we consider, the frogs in the Amazon rainforest when we cut it down. I don't see a lot of hope in a war against extraterrestrials. And that's why I don't like a lot of science fiction, because it paints it as, it just takes the human spirit to endeavor and triumph. I'm like, that's not the way this works.
Yep.
It doesn't work this way.
This is not how it works.
Your endeavoring human spirit. And the Terminator series is the same kind of thing, where you're talking about human beings who are weak, fallible, inaccurate, kind of stupid, and flawed, fighting against machines, right?
Right.
They don't miss when they shoot. They don't miscalculate tactical maneuvers. They don't accidentally run into trees. Humans do all of these things. So the idea that humans can even fight machines, which we can actually create at this point in time, we just don't, is equally absurd. And then we start talking about a civilization that is advanced enough to have traveled the vast distances to reach Earth in the first place. And was like, oh, yeah, we could totally continue on fighting against them. There was a television show that was about this, was it not? About
V?
What?
From back in the 1980s, V.
No, it wasn't that long ago. It was maybe 10 years ago. It was about, human armed resistance after extraterrestrials had basically wiped out human civilization.
Okay, I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
It wasn't one of the Torchwood. Oh, excellent. Thank you, Synergistic Shift. Filthy Earth Monkeys is from Invader Zim. I did not look for it at all.
Did you at least find us a YouTube video that we can...
Yes, if you could find me just a YouTube clip of Zim saying that, because I know that was Zim who said it.
Or an MP3 or something.
I'm glad I was correct. Yeah, any of those will be fine. Or just let me know what episode it's from. That would also work. So anyway, yeah, we are filthy, stupid Earth monkeys, and the possibility of actually fighting some sort of extraterrestrial is stupid. But of course, it goes the opposite direction. If we travel to them, odds are we're going to be significantly more advanced than they are. And I don't think it's very likely that we will respect their right to exist. We don't here on Earth.
Seems unlikely.
So why would we do it to these other species on these other planets that we may or may not even recognize as valid life forms? I mean, it's really hard to say. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think in the long run, humanity will probably either annihilate itself before we get to that point, or we will be annihilated by some alien civilization that we've stupidly started a fight with, or best case scenario, best in quotation marks, we become the aliens that go from planet to planet, stripping the resources and wiping out the indigenous life. That's probably the best future for humanity that I can currently envision.
That's the best case scenario, and it still doesn't sound very good.
No, annihilating other civilizations is horrific. Well, this is the Call to Freedom, and we'll be back with more about the Satanic Temple.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselawclub.com. lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm. Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live.
For the listeners, each talk show has like a, you're in the Joe Blow Army, or, you know, the Ditto Heads. Do the lefties have it too?
I couldn't tell you.
Ed Heads, isn't?
Yep, Ed Heads.
Yeah, Ed Heads. So they all have them. I really want
I'd like
hear
to rename
from you.
our listeners Mindless Free Talk Live Zombies. What do you think?
Free Talk Live automatons.
Call in if you're a mindless Free Talk Live zombie.
What does it mean to you to be left? What does it mean to you
Progressive.
to be right? What does it mean to you to be conservative? What does it mean to you to be liberal? I think they're very vague concepts that pit people against one another. Many people who otherwise, in the absence of being able to plaster themselves with that label, might find out they've got an awful lot in common.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. I am your host, as always, Arya DeMezzo of theanarchistshemale.com. Joined in the studio today by
Michael Hampton from BitcoinHistory.com.
And you're invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or if you want clearer quality, you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. You can also join in the chat there, which is always, almost always anyway, ongoing about something. Usually nothing related to the show, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's too bad though, because sometimes they come up with some really good stuff, and sometimes it's just old.
Well, I've noticed during Free Talk Live, it tends to be related to the show. During Arya Uncensored, it tends to be related to the show. But during Call to Freedom, they just completely ignore whatever we're talking about and carry on their conversations. Probably 99% of the time, which is fine, you know.
Yeah.
So, the Rolling Stone has reported that the IRS is granting tax-exempt status to the Satanic Church. Now, one of the issues I have with the Satanic Church is their sort of grandstanding on this issue, where they're like, no, even though we're granted tax-exempt status, we're going to continue paying our taxes.
Really? Did they say that?
There are a few tweets from the official Satanic Temple account that have made that statement, yes.
Wait, why would they even do that?
Because they're humanists. They're atheists, which makes them statists, by and large. They believe that the role of the state should be to take care of the rest of humanity. And because they're all we need to spread love and care and compassion, and they've fallen for that brainwash that it's the state that does this.
Love and care and compassion is not compatible with statism.
No, but, to the average person, that's a concept that is far beyond their ability to understand.
That contradiction is not quite processed through their minds.
No, and that's one of the reasons I want to start a satanic temple, because if there is a devil, it's the state. So good news for those who worship Satan and Satan-adjacent deities. That's kind of weird. The Satanic Temple has officially been granted tax-exempt status by the IRS, according to a post from the religion's official Instagram account.
Oh, we are definitely in post-millennial...
there's nothing inherently wrong with Satanism. I don't see how it's any sort of post-millennial indication or anything like that. I just
find it funny that a religion has an Instagram account.
Oh, that aspect. Yeah, that is funny. Being granted tax-exempt status essentially means that the Satanic Temple has the same legal protections that other religions do, including access to public spaces as other religious organizations, affirming its standing in court when battling religious discrimination, and enabling the Satanic Temple to apply for faith-based government grants.
Oh, so they want money.
I'm sure they do, which is yet another reason that I should start my own Satanic Temple to reject this sort of thing, because you can't actually spread the message of compassion and love while you embrace the most immoral entity ever produced by humanity, which is the state. So they are pleased to announce that for the very first time in history, they somehow neglected to mention the word first, a satanic organization has been recognized by the United States federal government as being a church. They don't actually say here that they intend to reject the status and to continue paying taxes. It may not be the case, or that may have been something that I misunderstood back in the day, because although the Satanic Temple had previously rejected, they rejected pursuing tax-exempt status. So yeah, that was it. They felt like they would qualify, but they didn't want to do it. Because we love the state. We love government. It's our God. And they don't seem to recognize the contradiction between that. But that's what it is. Statism is the ultimate religion.
Indeed.
Church President Lucien Greaves reversed this stance in 2017 after President Trump signed a religious freedom executive order.
So this is Trump's fault.
Well, it's Lucien Greaves' fault for being so partisan that when something happens, he immediately reverses a position that they've had for several years running. Simply because, oh no, Orange Man did a thing, it was bad, we have to retaliate. So as the religious are increasingly gaining ground as a privileged class, that was it. They're like, we got to get in on some of this privilege. Yeah.
I see where this is going.
As the religious are increasingly gaining ground as a privileged class, we must ensure that this privilege is available to all, and that superstition doesn't gain exclusive rights over non-theistic religions or non-belief.
Okay, then.
Non-theistic religions.
Non-theistic, like statism?
Well, that has a god.
Well, the state isn't technically a god. It is what they worship, but it's not technically a god.
No, it is a god.
It's like your egg. It doesn't exist.
It's this imaginary entity that they hold up to be responsible for all of the good that happens in the world and that escapes culpability for all of the evil that it brings. That's almost by definition a god. They just don't call it one. But here at the Keene, Cheshire County Republican Committee, you can actually watch these people sing hymns to the state and pledge their allegiance to the state, and then actually pray to the state. It's jarring, it's disgusting, and it's
bizarre.
It is bizarre, but they don't seem to view it in the... if you're a Christian and you don't see the obvious idolatry going on here, then I don't know what to tell people.
Yeah, no man can serve two masters, and he wasn't just talking about money.
So he wrote in the Satanic newsletter that the group should move to ensure that atheistic and secular nonprofits advancing a distinct religious opinion and or opinion upon religion are themselves rightful beneficiaries of religious tax exemption as well. See, and this is yet another place where I diverge from the statism being peddled by the Satanic Temple. Everyone should have tax exempt status, whether it's related to religious belief or not, because there shouldn't be taxes.
Period. I'll sign up for that.
There should, in fact, be no taxes and no state and no one to enforce those taxes or to come and kidnap you when you refuse to pay them.
Dear IRS, please unsubscribe me from your mailing list.
These people really do not seem to get the concept of studio microphones, because they're asking again about us being so close to the mics. I mean, that's the way they work.
Because it's professional equipment. It's not this cheapo consumer or prosumer stuff that your average YouTuber is using. It's actual professional grade stuff, and that's what you do.
Yes. Thanks for informing them. As documented in the recent film Hell Satan, the Satanic Temple was initially founded in 2013 as something of a joke. I don't know if that's true. I mean, the Satanic Temple may be one particular incarnation of what Aleister Crowley was actually talking about.
There have been Satanists for a lot longer than that.
So the Satanic Church, the Satanic Temple, is just sort of this particular instance of that. They seem to be going pretty far awry from anything that Crowley, who I would argue is the father of modern Satanism, ever advocated. And this is the Call to Freedom. We're going to talk more of this, so don't go anywhere.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com. Hey, I'm LRN.FM Program Director Ian Freeman. If you're listening to our free-to-air satellite feed in North or Central America, heads up! We've been on the Galaxy 19 satellite since 2010, but now our satellite provider is moving LRN.FM to a new channel on a different transponder. The current channel will stay on the air until the end of May to give you time to transition without any loss of service, so don't delay. I've posted the new channel details at sat.lrn.fm, but in case you're listening with no internet access, if you do a blind scan on your receiver, you should see the new channel at transponder 6, 11.8425 GHz, horizontal polarization, symbol rate 22,000, FEC 3/4. All that information is at sat.lrn.fm, as well as a link to our Patreon, where you can support our channels for just $2 a month. Visit sat.lrn.fm for more information about our international satellite channels, and thanks for listening to LRN.fm. LRN.fm now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. So evidently, the Satanic Temple has broken its long tradition. Well, I don't want to say long because apparently it's only existed since about 2013, making it kind of like the flying spaghetti monster religion, whatever they call it.
Yeah, Pastafarianism.
Yeah, I hate them so much because I'm enough of a cynic to know that it's not going to take more than a few decades before we do have people genuinely believing in the flying spaghetti monster.
I have seen people wearing the colander in their driver's license photos.
I have too, and those people are ridiculous, and I hope that somebody slaps them at some point.
They probably already have.
I genuinely hope so, because they look stupid. I'm all for doing stupid things to make jokes, right? I do it quite a lot. I went to the King GameStop here and flipped out on them as a joke, spoofing the Superman video. I ran for sheriff here in Cheshire County for largely the same reasons. I joined the Republicans and ran for sheriff. Ran for secretary, pretty much for this. I do a topless show every Tuesday night on DLive and Twitch, largely for the same reasons. So
for the lulz.
Yeah, I totally get, doing things just to troll people. But going out of your way to have your official identification presented to people in that regard is not something that I would do.
Yeah, are they taking it too far then?
I think they're taking it too far.
Have they actually started to believe in the flying spaghetti monster?
I don't know if they have, but other people will at some point. There will be some person. They got people to believe in Scientology. Yeah, so it's not much of a stretch that they may get people to believe in the flying spaghetti monster. As stupid as it sounds, I think it's likely to happen at some point. So the group also advocated for the addition of a Baphomet statue outside the Oklahoma State Capitol, next to a statue of the Ten Commandments. Over time, they've evolved into a genuine grassroots religious and activist movement, experiencing a huge spike in membership after the election of Donald Trump. Although it was reported as the first satanic religion in the United States to be granted such status, IRS records show that a local New York City grotto or chapter of the Church of Satan was given the status in 1980. So I'm not sure I would want to call mine the Church of Satan. Not with them corrupting the ideas of Aleister Crowley to this extent. And I'm not a huge fan of Aleister Crowley by any means, but he made a lot of really good points about God's essentially just being a reflection of the worshiper's ego and all that kind of stuff within the Satanic Bible. And he was a bit out there as well into black magic and all kinds of nonsense.
Mm-hmm. I've only heard of him. I have not read the Satanic Bible or anything else really.
It's worth a read, if only because, he did have some fascinating insights into human nature and the nature of religion. But yes, I would tend to agree that the Satanic Temple here in this context is all about moving people toward the state. to facilitate the transition from organized religion in the past to the organized religion of today, which is the state.
Statism.
And in order to do that, you have to remove the previous gods. You have to remove the Yahwehs and the Jehovahs and the Zeuses and all of that to make way for this new state.
Right.
I mean, for this new deity. And the new deity is the state.
So pretty much if you're worshiping the state, you're already a member.
Yeah, I would say so. But it's not just, the Church of Satan that has this issue. It's also an issue among atheists in general who tend to be hardcore, quote-unquote, progressives. Like, to the extent where, like, on The Atheist Experience, which is a show I used to watch until I got into an argument with Matthew Dillahunty or whatever his name is, because he said some stupid stuff about the Great Pyramid, and I proved him wrong, and he just totally could not handle that. So they, when talking about Ron Paul, they were like, oh no, this is terrible. This idea that we don't need a tax-based society is lunatic, and it's dangerous, and Ron Paul must be stopped because we need the state to provide all of these wonderful services that it provides. You mean like the dropping of bombs in Yemen? Because you can't have one without the other.
No, they go together.
No state has ever existed to simply perform the benevolent functions that the people underneath that state wish to see. It has always used its left hand to pretend to care for the people that it oversees, and it uses its right hand to kill everyone else, as well as the people it's supposed to be overseeing. That's why we have the highest incarceration rate in the world. We, America, the land of the free, has more people in prison than Russia, than China. Well, I don't know. China may not actually be true because they're just not calling them prisons.
Well, per capita, the U.S. is at the top of that list.
Okay, yeah, there we go. And that's deplorable. It's ridiculous. It's Puritan age nonsense where this plant is illegal, this mushroom is illegal.
There's so many things that are illegal that just have no business being illegal whatsoever.
No, and the atheists, the Satanists, they fall for this rhetoric that, oh, well, we need licensed vehicular registration to make sure that why exactly do we need this? Because I can't even present any sort of safety reason, however bizarre it would be and however nonsensical it would be, but how in the world would vehicular registration in any way tie into safety?
It doesn't.
But they would argue in favor of it nonetheless, that it's okay.
Well, they have this idea in their heads. It's a completely wrong idea, but the idea they have in their heads is that government is a force for good.
Yes, they do. And that's alarming in a nation that was literally built from people who stated unequivocally
government
is evil, and at best is a necessary evil. I would not agree that it's necessary or that any amount of evil is necessary. It tends to sort of follow.
Thomas Jefferson wasn't entirely sure it was necessary.
Yeah, it seems to follow this idea that, okay, well, we're going to have warlords anyway, so we might as well have them under our control by writing this constitution that is somehow magically
it's going to be changed
to bind them. And it didn't work.
That spell didn't work because you didn't cast it correctly. Right?
That's exactly it. And my issue with the Republicans and the conservatives and all of that is something that I heard especially a lot in Mississippi was that, well, if we just restored the Constitution, then everything would be fine. Well, wait, time out.
The Constitution, that's how we got here in the first place.
Yeah, because this is the product of the Constitution. I don't think there is any reason whatsoever to believe that it works or that it could work if we tried it again. And when you start saying things like that, you go, well, maybe if we just try socialism, it will totally work this time.
Oh, yeah, it'll work just like it worked every other time. There will be millions of dead people. They will be piled up high like cordwood. And
yeah, so if we just try constitutionalism one more time, it will totally work. We just didn't do it right. That's all.
We didn't write the right words on that paper. We're going to try again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they see the words on the paper are good. as far as a state goes, if you're going to have a state, those words are pretty good for binding that state. The Confederate States Constitution was actually better, but let's not get into that. It was better in some respects anyway. It still had the whole racism thing built into it.
The whole slavery thing was in there.
Disregarding that, the Constitution in and of itself isn't necessarily bad. It just has no way to enforce itself beyond the Second Amendment.
Right. That's up to the people, and the people are not doing a very good job.
No. And we let them have a full takeover and destruction of the Second Amendment. So we completely failed in that regard. This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom. And if you've ever wanted to have sex with prostitutes and then arrest them, or just bust people for drugs and then sell the drugs on the side for a little bonus, or just, enjoy the power rush of being a cop without all the paperwork, then you should try the Thin Blue Line game, which can be found at thinbluelinegame.com. It's the only card game in the world that allows you to shoot someone over a broken taillight and then escape accountability with the magical phrase, "I feared for my life." Typical cop stuff. Get it now at thinbluelinegame.com. Assault and battery is not included, but for a limited time, you can order your copies and use the coupon code CTF to have all shipping costs waived. So go get it. Again, that's thinbluelinegame.com.
You've been laughing at something here during the break and all through the intro, and I cannot read the chat from here. So.
It's just the people in chat. I mean, it's the same thing it always is, except these guys are a bit funnier about it. So
you're trans? Oh, my God.
Yeah, apparently. I'm so glad somebody pointed that out to me because I was totally not aware.
We had no clue.
So anyway, this satanic thing, there's really not much more to say about it, but Joe Biden is continuing his, what's the word I'm looking for here? His stumbling around in the dark in his effort to run for president of the United States in 2020.
Yep, he has officially announced, and he did it with a crappy YouTube video.
Oh, he did this today?
Yes.
He announced today?
Yes.
And he did it in a stupid video? Okay.
Yeah, I watched the video. It's safe for radio, but it's kind of
boring,
crappy, boring. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to watch it then.
The only fun
it does
part
appear to be only about a minute long, so it may be worth listening to.
The full video is like 3 minutes.
Alter the character of this nation. But if we give Donald Trump 8 years in the White House, he will forever and fundamentally alter the character of this nation, who we are, and I cannot stand by and watch that happen. The core values of this nation, our standing in the world, our very democracy, everything that has made America America is at stake. That's why today I'm announcing my candidacy for President of the United States. Folks, America's an idea that's stronger than any army, bigger than any ocean, more powerful than any dictator or tyrant. It gives hope to the most desperate people on earth. It guarantees that everyone is treated with dignity.
What the hell is he talking about?
He's talking about his God, America.
Okay. Because he never specified what this wondrous thing is.
Yeah.
It gives hate no safe harbor. It instills in every person in this country the belief that no matter where you start in life, there's nothing you can't achieve if you work at it. That's what we believe. And above all else, that's what's at stake in this election.
Yeah, if you believe in the God America, that's what you believe. Apparently.
I find it very curious how both he and Bernie Sanders are beginning to sound like capitalists.
Yeah, it's a little strange. This looks
it doesn't matter where you're from or how poor your background is. If you work really hard, you can be successful. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that is
didn't
a
Obama say
capitalist.
something totally the opposite? You didn't build that?
No, I mean, he got misquoted as saying that. But, I mean, within the context of what he was talking about, he was correct. And it wasn't an insult to business owners as, the right took it and pretended it was. They just sort of ignored what he was actually saying. Sort of like people do now with Ocasio-Cortez, where they just ignore the brunt of her actual message and focus instead on some little technicality that she got wrong. Like if she was to say there's a $20 trillion national debt and this is a serious problem, you would have these people come out and say that the debt is $19.8 trillion, you stupid idiot.
Okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, and they would completely miss the point of what she was actually saying, just like they did with Obama in that particular scenario. He was talking about how businesses rely on infrastructure, roads and bridges and things like that, and how those businesses did not, in fact, build those. And he's correct. But businesses also were not provided the option of building those. The state did it, and the state would not approve.
They didn't have the choice.
If you just went out there and started building a road. Right. It's sort of extortionist, really. And it reminds me, of a point I made during a What is Capitalism video that I made long ago. What would you say about parents who raised this kid, and then when that kid turned 16 years old, they were like, all right, well, we fed you, we supported you, we gave you all this free rent and things like that throughout the first 16 years of your life. Now it's time to start paying us back. Don't worry about an actual dollar figure. We'll tell you when to stop. And of course, we won't ever actually reach that point. Just keep paying us money for the rest of your life. What would we say about parents who did something that grotesque?
I hardly know where to begin with that one.
But that's exactly what we hear in regard to the state and the things it has, quote unquote, done for us since we were born. Well, you should have to pay taxes. You benefited from public education. You benefit from driving on the roads. You benefit from the police making you safer and things like that. It's an extortionist, screwed up viewpoint.
Okay, so you provided me services I might not have wanted and didn't have a choice in, and you think I should pay for them because why? I didn't have a choice.
Because I was provided those services effectively. And it's just, sure, whether or not those services were necessary and whether or not they provided me with options to procure them in some other way, these services were used. And so they're basically like, they're basically just trying to extort money from us and presenting this pseudo rationale that because they did this thing, we're therefore indebted to them for the rest of our lives because the social contract and other nonsense like that.
What social contract? I didn't sign any social contract.
You didn't
show
get
me
that?
a copy.
You didn't get that when they brought it around the hospital when you were 6 minutes old
No.
to sign? I didn't either. So that's disturbing.
Oh my God, a trans person.
Is that happening again?
I don't know.
Probably.
It probably is.
Yeah. So anyway.
But yeah, that was just a 1 minute excerpt of the full video. Like the first half of the full video is all about Charlottesville. And Chris Cantwell is in it. He just appears for a second, but he just goes off about Charlottesville for a minute and a half.
And this was his launching his presidential campaign?
Yes. I thought I gave a link to the full video in the Telegram there.
Well, I mean, you may have, but I don't exactly have a lot of time to sit around watching YouTube videos,
He just like, oh, we can't accept this whole Charlottesville racism, white supremacy stuff in America. We're Americans.
So the 76-year-old front runner, for now, is apparently following the dubious strategy of 2016 Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton. Clinton also launched in a perfectly homogenized, almost Hollywood-like production of her campaign 4 years ago. The problem is a video doesn't connect or inspire voters the way a live announcement in front of a raucous crowd would. Well, that's certainly true. Now Clinton and Biden share one very big thing in common, a campaign launch lacking energy. Oh, shocking. Joe Biden lacks energy. He doesn't lack energy when he's filling up, 6-year-old kids.
Yeah, he's also 76 years old.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ron Paul ran when he was older than that, I think. He ran all the way up until he was 80, and he had tremendous energy.
Oh, yeah, but he's like athletic. He keeps in shape every day.
Well, Joe Biden can do the same things. I mean, he would like to keep in shape by molesting 16-year-olds, evidently.
Creepy Joe.
Yep, joebiden.info if you would like full details about the creepy things that Uncle Joe gets up to in his spare time. Because a lot of it's... I need to check to see if they've actually updated any of it, because it's super disturbing.
Yeah, if any other person did this, you would not let them anywhere near you or your kids.
So the people are improvising and doing last-minute planning on the campaign. He's been running for president since 1987 and can't figure the basics out, like where to stand on his first day and this should make everyone very nervous, the former aide said. So he's been running for office, for a presidential office since 1987.
I think he was in the 88 Democratic race. He got out of that early, if I recall.
I mean, at a certain point, one should just go, okay, this isn't working out. I should probably stop. Hillary learned that lesson in 2016. She's not a potential candidate, apparently, for 2020, and thank God for that, because I am so sick of Hillary Clinton. So I mean, she ultimately learned the lesson that she shouldn't run for office because nobody wants her, but Joe Biden evidently didn't. Well, this is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more of this discussion in just a moment.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,271, silver at $14.82, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,403. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, from the Sackler family, who has made billions from selling opioids to the masses, to the doctors arrested for pushing their pills on unwilling Americans, lawsuits and charges in the opioid crisis abound. However, the companies responsible for distribution of the drugs have largely gone unscathed until now. The Free Thought Project reports that in a first in the government's battle against the opioid crisis, the former CEO of one of the largest opioid distribution companies in the country, Rochester Drug Cooperative, and the company itself have been criminally charged with conspiracy. According to federal prosecutors, Rochester Drug Cooperative was charged Tuesday with narcotics conspiracy and conspiracy to defraud the United States. The former CEO of the company, Lawrence Dowd III, was charged with narcotics conspiracy and conspiracy to defraud the Drug Enforcement Administration. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York charged Rochester Drug Cooperative with knowingly and intentionally violating federal narcotics laws by distributing dangerous, highly addictive opioids to pharmacy customers that it knew were being sold and used illicitly. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. 7 Navy SEALs were warned that reporting the alleged war crimes of their teammates and calling for a formal investigation could jeopardize their careers, a Navy criminal investigation report revealed. Chief Special Warfare Operator Edward Eddie Gallagher has been accused of killing an unarmed ISIS fighter with a hunting knife and firing on civilians with a sniper rifle while deployed in Iraq, as well as obstructing justice by attempting to intimidate his fellow SEALs. He allegedly threatened to kill teammates that spoke to authorities about his alleged actions. Gallagher was arrested in September 2018, following allegations of intimidating witnesses and obstruction of justice. He was officially charged in January with premeditated murder, among other crimes. His direct superior is accused of failing to report Gallagher's alleged crimes and burying or destroying evidence. Gallagher, a decorated SEAL who earned a Bronze Star for valor, has pleaded not guilty, and his defense is denying all charges. The Department of Homeland Security says facial recognition technology will be used on 97% of passengers departing the U.S. by 2023. That's according to a report from Activist Post citing The Verge. Already deployed in 17 international airports, including Atlanta, New York City, Boston, San Jose, Chicago, and 2 airports in Houston, DHS systems will photograph and scan passengers at their departure gate, cross-referencing their face against a library of face images from visa and passport applications, as well as those taken by border agents when foreigners enter the country. Last week, JetBlue customer Mackenzie Fegan was shocked after finding out that her face had been scanned in order for her to board the plane. When asked how they knew it was her, JetBlue said the information was provided by DHS from existing holdings. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
5-Hour Energy CEO Manoj Bhargava claimed this week that the 13 deaths associated with his product were just collateral damage in his company's ongoing war against that 230 feeling. Quote, "We honor the sacrifice of all those who have fallen. I wish we could live in a world where you could get a spike of energy and no crash and not die. But that's not the world we live in." Passionate supporters have flooded social media, demonstrating the terrifying costs of midday drowsiness and fatigue, with consumers saying that when it comes to extra alertness in the mid-afternoon, they are willing to pay any price.
As the wife of a 5-hour energy drinker, we've had to sacrifice a lot in the name of long-lasting bursts of energy that carry you out of the workday and into the evening. We knew the risks going in.
Bhargava says his company has no plans to stop until the 230 feeling is completely wiped off the map, at which point they will turn their attention to that 330 feeling, 430 feeling, and people with a case of the Mondays.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom. As always, I'm your host, Arya DeMetzo. of Arya Uncensored, which you can watch live on Tuesday nights at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a show that is not broadcast on terrestrial radio, meaning we don't have to listen to the FCC and we can say anything that we want. And we do. No, I am not. Let me answer that real quick. So I do the show topless, and it's a lot of fun. It seems to be one of our more successful shows at the moment, which is great because I've only done 3 episodes so far, and the first one was so terrible that I don't think it really even counts. So it's a lot of fun. Be sure to check it out. That's going to be not this coming Tuesday because I have another commitment that I have to deal with, but the following Tuesday, that would be like May the 8th or 7th or somewhere around there.
Or other.
Yeah. So there will be no more episodes of Arya Uncensored in the month of April. Let's put it that way. I will be back to do the show each Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at dlive.lrn.fm and twitch.lrn.fm. So be sure to check that out. And I'm joined in the studio by
Michael Hampton from cryptotip.org.
And so we've been talking about various things, the Satanic Temple and things like that. And Joe Biden, with his little black beady eyes, he kind of actually reminds me of Dan Quayle in the eyes, because Dan Quayle had that same sort of thing going on. They were just very beady, very black looking. And he just sort of looked like he was possessed by demons.
He might have been.
And maybe they interfered with his ability to spell potatoes. Or potato, actually.
Did we ever find out if he had a 3-digit IQ? Dan Quayle?
Not that I'm aware of. Okay. I don't find IQ to be a particularly relevant factor in determining how intelligent people actually are. To me, everyone has the same mental capacity, and the issue is that they refuse to use it, or they don't wish to cultivate it and things like that. Because I'm, not to brag, but I'm an intelligent individual. I've passed the Mensa test and all of that. So I'm a card-carrying genius. But I don't think I'm any smarter than anyone else. I think everyone else could be as intelligent. The difference is I choose to exercise my intellectual faculties, and they don't. So we are going to go now to Bass, who is calling in from Europe regarding the Satanic Temple. Bass, what's on your mind?
Hello. Before going on the discussion, I want to ask you, do you looking against or for Satanic temples? What's your view on Satanic temples? Do you see it more positive or negative?
I'm actually looking into the possibility of starting a Satanic temple here in the town in which I live. I diverge pretty considerably from the official stances of the Satanic Temple because they lean more toward this idea that the government is a good thing and should take care of people, and I don't. But yes,
Okay.
I am pro-humanism, and humanism and Satanism are essentially the same thing.
But isn't it like when you want to create a Satanic temple that people are like having the same negative feel on it, like they see satanic things, they might be scared? What do you do against that?
You raise an excellent point. There's a lot of feedback on your line. If you can use the Discord call-in line at discord.lrn.fm, that would be preferred. But you are correct. It's largely because of Hollywood that this imagery scares people, right? A lot of people associate the pentagram with black magic and things like that, none of which is actually real, obviously.
Black magic? Wait. Tell me about black magic.
Well, black magic is this fictitious thing that humans have invented. Some of these people believe that they have the power to inflict curses on other people and things like that, summon demons, and none of it is real, and it's not related to Satanism.
I thought black magic was only about how do you say it, like killing niggers.
I knew that was coming. That's why I had my finger on the drop button and ready to hit the dump button. I knew that was coming. Unfortunately for you, Guy, we do have a dump button, which dumps the previous 4 seconds of conversation. So you did not actually get out onto the airwaves. Sorry to disappoint you. We are professionals here. We have this neat little box back here that handles all of that for us for the most part. I just have to remember to push the button. And I do, because I knew what you were going to get at as soon. And I should have dropped the call previously, but because I knew it was coming. I was 99% sure it was coming anyway, because we've been doing this internet thing I've been managing this. I've only been doing this show in this capacity for about 2 months, right? So I've been doing it for long enough to have yes, you'll hear it on Twitch and DLive. The video stream does not have the dump built into it. We could probably set it up, but it would be more trouble than it's really worth, considering we drop the calls, we chastise them and all of that. So we're not likely to get banned from DLive or Twitch or anything like that because of it. We immediately put it into it. But the bigger concern is the FCC and going out on, radio waves, which you did not do. Sorry to disappoint you.
Yeah, sorry. You lose.
And to be clear, I don't even care, right? When I sat down with Chris Cantwell to do Shemale versus Nazi, I told him he could say anything that he wanted in whatever way that he wanted, including the racial slurs and all of that, because the point was to just drag him out there to get his ideology as fully in the open as possible and rip it to pieces. Of course, that ended when he got really upset and stormed out of the studio.
Because he couldn't handle someone calling him a name.
Yes, he can handle. So I made him into an NPC with the NPC meme where he's like, hang up on this caller now. And I'm sitting there, I go, no. And his face becomes the angry NPC, which is almost exactly how it really happened.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I was actually watching at the time. That was what happened.
It was so great. It was so enjoyable to have him just try to exercise this power and say, hang up on this caller now, or I'm walking out. And I'm like, bye. Of course, I was dropping a lot of F-bombs at that point because it was an uncensored show, much like Aria Uncensored, where I also drop a bit of F-bombs. So that was a lot of fun, and he ended up storming out, and we carried on the show for about an hour and a half without the Nazi. Then we transitioned to Freer Talk Live, and it was just a lot of fun. It went on until I think about 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it was pretty late.
Aria Uncensored usually only lasts about 2 hours, but that's because we sort of put a limit on it when it feels like 2 hours is a good time limit. So anyway, we've been talking about Joe Biden and his attempt to run for office again for, I don't know what number time this is, but he's been doing it since 1987. And to be fair, Ron Paul also repeatedly ran since 1980-ish.
Yeah, but the thing is, Ron Paul actually got into Congress in 88.
I thought he was from the late 70s, maybe 78.
He might have been in the 70s too. But he ran as a libertarian in 88. That's right.
Okay, I wish he had been successful in 2012 and in 2016
and in 2008. Ron Paul
is that the
one?
Okay, that's the one I'm thinking of. Then, yeah, 2008 and 2012. Yeah, I wish I didn't even support him in 2008. I didn't know anything about him or the Libertarian Party. I had just come out of watching the faux documentary Zeitgeist, which makes a very brief passing mention of Ron Paul, but the general worldview that it perpetuates is just this all hope is lost thing. And it's a really good documentary, although it stretches the truth in a few places, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. But I would highly recommend anybody out there who has not seen Zeitgeist to check it out. Don't watch Zeitgeist. Well, you can watch Zeitgeist Addendum. It's still got some good parts in it. But don't watch Zeitgeist moving forward, because that's where it gets into its full-blown communist propaganda. And prior to that, it's a really, really good movie. A really, really good documentary, I should say. So I knew nothing about that when Ron Paul ran in 2008. But this is the Call to Freedom. We're going to talk more about Joe Biden, so don't go anywhere.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISSparis.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. Of course, you're invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160, or you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. And that's certainly how we would prefer people to call in, because the quality difference is staggering.
Yeah, that last caller's quality was so terrible I could hardly make out anything he said.
Well, he was coming from the United Kingdom, so that's somewhat understandable, I would say. So, moving on. Well, actually, we do have a little bit more to say in regard to Joe Biden. So, according to The Hill, with 20 other Democrats running for the nomination, which is interesting because they only ran like 2 or 3, I think, at the most in 2016 against Trump. And it was the Republicans who had just this massive field of people. And now it's the Republicans who, so far, are only running Donald Trump and Bill freaking Weld.
Yeah, and Weld is just, I don't know what he's up to, but he's not going anywhere.
No, well, he's going to the Republican Party, and I hope he stays there. God. Because I don't want him to ever have an L next to his name again, because he's not a libertarian. Like, definitively, demonstrably not a libertarian. In fact, he was basically working for the Clinton campaign toward the end of the 2016 candidacy.
Yeah, when I first heard of this guy, I thought he was a Democrat. And then somebody tells me he's a libertarian. I'm like, what?
Well, he had an L next to his name, at least. And he gave the Libertarian Party a $2,500 check and bought a lifetime membership.
Okay.
But that's not what I consider to be a libertarian.
Yeah, this is not something you buy your way into.
So waiting 4 days before appearing on the stump is not really taking of his advantage as a candidate with the best name recognition. I don't really know about that. There's also the issue of fundraising. This headline in Tuesday's New York Times is an ominous one. Joe Biden plans to enter the 2020 race on Thursday. He's starting with $0. Wow, that sucks.
That's not a great place to start from. But then again, I mean, he could just raise millions of dollars. It's.
Well, I would argue that he probably shouldn't have money for a campaign until he announces his campaign.
Yeah, that might be true.
So I think they should probably all start with $0. So the story goes on to underscore just how far behind Biden is with no tangible small donor base. Now, I wonder if he's going to be coming to Keene. I've had to miss the last 2 people who did. Elizabeth Warren came this past Saturday at about noon, and I am not really conscious at noon.
Yeah, that's like well before getting up time for you.
Yeah, that's like 5 in the morning for me. It's noon. So the possibility of making that was not real. When Sanders came here, he did it during the Call to Freedom, and I only had 1 day of notification. So I didn't really have much interest or much ability to actually go there and troll him. But they'll all come to Keene, including, I believe, Donald Trump at some point.
Yeah, they'll all come through here at least once.
Elizabeth Warren appeared to have the FBI with her when she came. They arrived, from what I could tell, at about 11 o'clock at night. And, of course, I worked there on Main Street. And suddenly there was just this convoy of black SUVs with blue lights flashing and being escorted by the Keene police and, I think, a sheriff, the sheriff of Cheshire County. So that was interesting to watch, just how much she was willing to derail the ongoing commerce of a town while running for candidacy or running for, presidency.
Well, how much was commerce really derailed at 11 p.m.?
Well, to some extent, people couldn't use that particular aspect of the street. And I mean, the streets here are divided, so no one could go in that direction for about 25 minutes.
Well, it's what, just drunk college students at that hour?
No, well, not
for the most
really.
part.
Well, they're generally not driving. They're walking and being loud and obnoxious. And speaking about being loud and obnoxious, tonight is going to suck so bad. There's only 3 of us there tonight.
Uh-oh.
And one of them doesn't really count because she's terrible.
And it's Thursday night, so they're starting to party already.
Yeah, she is the one who stole money out of my purse last night.
Oh, she's the one that stole the $5 out of your purse.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she's a despicable, horrible, lazy human being. And nobody there likes her. That's the amazing thing. You got to get sort of a sense for that, I would think, when you work at this place where nobody likes you.
But you're still there.
And she sings. Oh my God, she sings, right? And I don't mean she sings along quietly to the music. No, this bitch will start going full on wailing along with whatever happens to be playing. I like to view it. It used to drive me nuts. It still bothers me, but I view it as, oh, she's just got Tourette's. And every once in a while, she has to burst into song.
Have you tried using a ball gag?
I would not touch that thing in that capacity.
Oh.
So no, I have not thought about that. Maybe just a gag.
Okay. A gag.
But not a ball gag. So meanwhile, Bernie Sanders has raised $26 million, $10 million of which remained from his last presidential campaign and Senate campaign. Well, then he hasn't raised $26 million, has he? He's raised $16.6 million.
So apparently, from what it sounds like, if you run for office in 1 year and you don't run out of money, you get to keep that money for your next run for office.
I mean, why shouldn't he be able to?
Leftovers.
It's better than him using it to buy more beach houses.
Yeah, I suppose.
But apparently Bernie Sanders was recently booed at, I think it was Harvard.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what.
I don't follow him that closely.
It was one of these institutions, right? One of these academia institutions that are notorious for having leftist-leaning students. And he was booed while speaking. So I thought that was really awesome. Good on them for that. Bernie Sanders sucks.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I haven't watched it. I just saw it and I was like, oh, that's neat, and went on about my life. So Mr. Biden begins at $0, and it would take his raising more than $100,000 a day until Christmas just to match what Mr. Sanders had banked at the start of April. I don't think that math works out. Hold on. He would have to raise $100,000 a day until Christmas to raise $16.6 million. Well, I don't think that's the way math works. What is it? I guess, well, hold on. I think they are correct.
160-something days? Yeah.
Are we about 160 days to Christmas?
They're in the right ballpark there.
Okay, interesting. But raising $100,000 a day is not an issue for Joe Biden. Ron Paul notoriously raised, I think it was $8 million in a single day.
Yeah, he did those money bombs, and they were just...
So he's run for president several times before, but he didn't come remotely close to earning the nomination, which isn't surprising. Safe choices don't tend to do well in these situations. Shockingly, think John Kerry, John McCain, Mitt Romney, or even Jeb Bush. This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about the surveillance state and how it's trying to monitor your face and everything you do.
Hey, I'm LRN.FM Program Director Ian Freeman. If you're listening to our free-to-air satellite feed in North or Central America, heads up. We've been on the Galaxy 19 satellite since 2010. But now our satellite provider is moving LRN.FM to a new channel on a different transponder. The current channel will stay on the air until the end of May to give you time to transition without any loss of service, so don't delay. I've posted the new channel details at sat.lrn.fm, but in case you're listening with no internet access, if you do a blind scan on your receiver, you should see the new channel at transponder 6, 11.8425 GHz, horizontal polarization, symbol rate 22,000, FEC 3/4. All that information is at sat.lrn.fm, as well as a link to our Patreon, where you can support our channels for just $2 a month. Visit sat.lrn.fm for more information about our international satellite channels, and thanks for listening to LRN.fm.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power, but there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
NASA announced the discovery of a mile-wide asteroid this week that could potentially trigger a global level of extinction, forcing upscale fashion retailer Nordstrom out of business. Researchers confirm that the celestial object is traveling at speeds exceeding 29,000 miles per hour, threatening to slam into the planet with more than 1 million megatons of force, enough to jeopardize operations at all 117 full-line Nordstrom locations.
Unless we can find some way to divert or intercept the asteroid, all 7 billion people on Earth, including all 62,500 Nordstrom employees, may die. Even if the asteroid breaks into smaller pieces upon entering to the atmosphere, a death toll as low as several hundred million could still slow foot traffic in stores and reduce online orders from Nordstrom's subsidiary, Hot Look.
Humanity is surprised it still hasn't figured out an alternative to letting power-hungry assholes decide everything, and a magical office worker is able to turn everything he touches into more work for his colleagues.
This is the Onion News Network.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom, and I would like to remind you that our podcasts have moved, and I would like to invite you to check us out on social media. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong line. You can find us on Facebook by using @CallToFreedom. You can find us on Twitter by using @CTF_LRN. I apologize for that one. You can find us on Mastodon on the Liberdon server by using @TheCallToFreedom. We're also on Discord with our own server that you can find at discord.lrn.fm. We're also on Spotify, Twitch, obviously, DLive,
Google Play Music, and iTunes.
So yeah, we are working, and all of this has happened within like the last 2 months for the show. So it's a very exciting time to be doing it, and I'm enjoying it. So
I'm having fun.
Me too. Me too. So coming to us from the EFF, apparently you can skip the surveillance by opting out of face recognition at airports. And I have no idea why I thought this had anything whatsoever to do with Facebook. I think I just saw the word face and my brain saw somewhere within it the word Facebook.
Well, we had a story we didn't quite get into last week where apparently somebody tweeted at JetBlue Airlines about being asked to show their face at the gate instead of a boarding pass, and JetBlue was like, "Oh, the Department of Homeland Security has your face on file."
Yeah, I saw that.
Like that. So this is kind of a follow-up to this.
Okay. So it's got nothing to do with Facebook. Ignore the title in the videos. Because I swear to God, I thought this had something to do with Facebook.
Well, I can find a Facebook story.
Oh, I have no doubt we can. I mean, we've got one here in the show prep about them expecting to be sued for $5 billion or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's the one I found.
Yeah. They suck. So anyway, government agencies and airlines have ignored years of warnings from privacy groups and senators that using face recognition technology on travelers would massively violate their privacy. Now the passengers are in revolt as well, and they're demanding answers.
Mm-hmm.
So last week, a lengthy exchange on Twitter between a traveler who was concerned about her privacy and a spokesperson for the airline JetBlue went viral. And many of the questions asked by the traveler and others were the same ones that we posed to Customs and Border Protection officials. Where did you get my data? How is it protected? Which airlines use this? Where in the airports will it be used? More importantly, how do I opt out? No, look, stop. Michael and I are not involved in any of those sorts of senses. I don't know why you people are assuming that, but we're not.
Yeah, we do a radio show. We're not lovers.
We are coworkers. So I don't know why everybody assumes that. Is it just because I'm trans and you're a guy, so we must be having sex? Is that the assumption that people are making?
I really don't know. You're not my type.
And you're not mine. It seems to stem from this idea that a gay person or a trans person or whatever would just sleep with whoever happened to unzip their pants in their direction.
No, not so.
No. You have to shove a lot of ecstasy down my throat before I'm willing to just sleep with whoever. And even then, it's not really effective. So these questions should be simple to answer, but we haven't gotten simple answers. When we asked CBP for more information, they told us visit our website.
Well, that's hilarious because CBP reorganizes their website every few months and they lose documents. Like stuff that was on their website before just disappears.
Interesting. So they did, and they still have many of the same questions. Representatives for airlines, which partner directly with government agencies, also seem unable to answer the concerns, as the JetBlue spokesperson made evident. Both agencies and airlines seem to expect no pushback from passengers when they implemented this boarding pass replacing panopticon. That's an unusual word. The convenience would win out, they seem to assume, not expecting people to mind having their face scanned the same way you unlock your phone.
I do not use my face to unlock my phone because I am not an idiot.
Yeah, nor do I. I don't use anything to unlock my phone, actually. Well, I mean, I use, pins. I don't use my fingerprint and stuff like that, so.
But no fingerprint, no Face ID.
No, absolutely not.
Don't ever use those.
It's so easy to have your phone hacked in those particular cases. I don't know why people are that frivolous with their own security, and then they want to get upset because the government is abusing it. It's like, well, you gave them the tools that they needed. You almost literally handed them the whip that they're using to beat you into obedience. So this is kind of your fault. So it may sound trite, but right now the key to opting out of face recognition is to be vigilant. There's no single box that you can check, and importantly, it may not be possible for non-US persons to opt out entirely. For those who can opt out, you'll need to spot the surveillance when it happens. To start, TSA pre-check, clear, and other ways of skipping the line often require biometric identification, and are often being used as test cases for these sorts of programs. Once you're at the airport, be on the lookout for any time a TSA, CBP, or airline employee asks you to look into a device, or when there's a kiosk or signage like those below. That means your biometric data is probably about to be scanned.
And they've got a nice poster here, like from an airport, from Customs and Border Protection, that kind of explains what they're doing.
At the moment, facial recognition is most likely to happen at specific airports, including a very long list of them seeming to comprise the largest airports in the United States.
Yeah, basically all the international airports.
While flying on Delta, JetBlue, Lufthansa, British Airways, and American Airlines, especially on international flights. But that doesn't mean that other airlines and airports won't implement it sooner rather than later. To skip the surveillance, CBP says you should notify a CBP officer or an airline or airport representative in order to seek an alternative means of verifying your identity and documents. Do the same when you encounter this with an airline. While there should be signage near the face recognition area, it may not be clear. Shocking. If you're concerned about creating a slight delay for yourself or other passengers, take note. Though CBP has claimed to have a 98% accuracy rating in their pilot programs, the Office of the Inspector General could not verify those numbers. And even then, a 2% error rate would cause thousands of people to be misidentified every single day. Most facial recognition technology has significantly lower accuracy ratings than that.
That's true.
So you might actually be speeding up by skipping the surveillance. Now, one of the funnier things that I've seen in the past few days was somebody saying, we live in a world where both of these things are true at the same time. One, you use CAPTCHAs to identify stop signs to make AI smarter and more capable of identifying stop signs because they evidently can't do it, and that's how you prove that you're not an AI, is by identifying the stop signs.
Well, pretty soon the AI is going to be able to identify the stop signs.
Yes, but
Which
they
is the
can't.
point.
Yeah, but they can't now. And simultaneously, we have self-driving cars being driven by computers and AI, while the test that you use to prove you're not a robot, that you're not an AI, is to identify stop signs. So it's definitely concerning. You know, Google is driving around in their self-driving vehicles and things like that, and they are simultaneously asking for our help in identifying things like crosswalks and traffic lights.
Yeah, I did notice they've done crosswalks, traffic lights, bicycles.
Yep. I've seen all of those in the past few weeks.
Buses.
Especially if you use DLive and you try to get your free Lino points, you're going to be hit with these CAPTCHAs on a regular basis. You're helping them improve their recognition technology, ideally to make their self-driving cars less likely to run over pedestrians and things like that. I don't know whether or not that's going to prove to be the case, but I don't particularly enjoy having so much of the internet gated behind this requirement for me to assist Google in programming a better AI.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And of course, I'd like to remind you that our podcasts have moved and they are no longer being located at Spreaker. They're no longer being uploaded to Spreaker. Sorry about that. They can instead be found at calltofreedomlive.podbean.com, as well as on Spotify, Google Play Music, and iTunes. So be sure to check that out. For the people who don't like listening to the commercials during the live stream, again, there's nothing we can do about that. It's a radio show. There are commercials, whether we like it or not. They're not in the podcast. So there you go.
Yeah, come listen later.
There's your solution.
You can watch it on YouTube next week, whatever.
Of course. Well, I mean, they'll still be on YouTube next week. The commercials will.
Are the commercials on the YouTube? Oh, because
they're on
we're
Twitch.
live streaming, right?
Yeah, they hear the same things that we hear for the most part. Well, not really. But yeah, let's leave it at that. There's no reason to get into the technicalities of how we can actually continue to have a conversation or play videos and things like that that they won't hear while we're out to break. So anyway, we've been talking about what was I talking about?
Surveillance.
Yeah, surveillance. Thank you. I literally just wrote that down too. So it's going to be one of those days. That's why I have this Java monster here next to me to assist my brain in deciding it wants to actually work.
Now we have to actually drink it though.
Yeah, well, I'm working on it. It's about halfway gone. I don't get much of an effect from things like that. But I need to, because it's going to be a really, really rough night at work. Because, the bars close, they start kicking people out around midnight, and they officially close at 1. And of course, where I work at, we have bars all around us. And we're the only place that's open. So that's where they all go.
Yeah,
and you get 30, 40, 50 drunk people, obnoxiously drunk college kids out in the lobby shouting and screaming, and it just is so aggravating.
Oh my.
Yeah. But hey, it's all good. It's fun. I like the people I work with the exception of the fat lesbian thief who stole money from me. So part of the reason for all of this confusion about how to opt out is that there are actually at least 3 different facial recognition checkpoints looming. Airlines want to use your face as your boarding pass, saying it's about convenience. CBP, which is part of the DHS, wants to use your face to check against DHS and State Department databases when you're entering or exiting the country. And the TSA wants to compare your face against your photo identification throughout the airport.
Yeah. That's not that funny.
No, Ace Maximilian is really funny, though. Apparently, he reported me for calling someone a fat lesbian. She is a fat lesbian. She is a literal lesbian, and she is literally fat.
Okay, so she's a lesbian. She's overweight. What's the problem?
I had the audacity to point out that she was a fat lesbian, I guess. I don't know. But she is literally a fat lesbian. I don't know what...
I don't know what to tell you here.
Of course, he obviously didn't report it. I would hope not, because there's clearly nothing report-worthy in that.
Yeah, well, I don't see a troll face at the end of that chat line. So.
No, but he's the one who's been telling us to go check on Jazzy because she's escaped. He's like, turn around, check on Jazzy. She's choking. I'm like, Jazzy's not even inside.
Jazzy is out on the front porch enjoying the warm weather.
I am fat shaming to a degree. Nightbreaker is correct. She's certainly not starving. I am fat shaming. I would tend to agree. Just like other people smoke shame me. It happened on Aria Uncensored. In fact, and I had to push back against that, where Derek J was talking about, the filthy habits of smokers and how he wasn't going to let smokers into his club and things like that. I was like, you are literally talking to a smoker.
Did he not know that?
Well, yeah, he knew that. But he's not entirely wrong. I will smoke shame as well, because there is this extremely bad habit among people who smoke to just throw their cigarette butts down.
Wherever they want.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And never return to pick them up. Like, for a while, I would just set them there on the back porch where I smoked at. But I would also come through every Tuesday, generally until it snowed and I couldn't find them any longer, which became a problem during the summer. But I also had a bag that ripped open. So there were a few different issues, but all of them got picked up. I never was just like, oh, I'm going to flick this cigarette butt out there and just let this fiberglass rot at some point in the next 10,000 years. That's disgusting.
It'll
it's
disappear
ridiculous.
into the yard, right?
But it won't. Not for a very long time.
Yeah, they take a while.
Yeah, and even then, it won't rot or anything like that for probably centuries. You're just going to have this layer of cigarette butts underneath your topsoil.
Yeah, the plants are going to love that.
Well, it might make them grow a little better. Nicotine is a stimulant, after all.
Marlboro, it's what plants crave.
It is. But, so, I mean, I do shame people for partaking in choices that I do not approve of. And allowing oneself to become overweight is something that I do not approve of. I don't have this figure on accident, right? It's a dieting decision and an exercise decision.
Yes, because you don't eat. I've never seen you eat anything.
I do eat.
I've never seen it.
No.
I'm sure you do. I've seen food in your hand. I've just never seen you eat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't. I do eat, though. But yeah, I don't eat to the point of allowing myself to be fat like some people do. I don't know why they do that. I'm not so sedentary. And if I started gaining weight in that manner, I would start jogging or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm overweight. I ride my bike here every day just to maybe lose some weight, burn some calories. So.
Well, you might be above average, but you're not fat.
Oh, so this is a totally different level of...
Yeah, I'm not talking about, people who are just above average and are a little bit heavier than your average person of whatever specific... I'm talking about fat. I'm talking about someone who has, like, rolls of cellulite dangling from their flesh while wearing horrifically short shorts, I would point out. It's so disturbing. So anyway... Enough about the fat lesbian.
Who stole money out of your purse. Let's not
Yes.
forget that.
And who is on some kind. That's another thing I don't get. She's either on heroin or meth. We don't know which, but she's on one of them.
Doesn't one of them cause you to lose weight?
They both cause you to lose weight.
But
she's not losing any. That's the amazing thing about it. I mean, she's on a drug hardcore enough to just steal money out of my purse. And yet she's not losing weight. I mean,
how does that happen?
I don't know. I that's why I lean toward heroin, because although it does decrease your appetite, it also makes you increasingly sedentary and lazy.
Ah, yeah.
So I would imagine that she just sort of gets smacked out and lays down on the couch for 9 hours.
That could be.
That would definitely make a person fat. Yes, I carry a purse, and I don't even generally have cash, and that's why I noticed it, right? I almost never have cash on me, but I did in this particular instance. And because I carry cash so rarely, I knew exactly how much I had on me. And sure enough, I went out there to smoke, and I was like, I need to get out some money to pay for something. Oh, there's money missing. Well, I wonder who that was. So anyway, if the government agencies get their way, new biometric data could be taken from and used against travelers wherever they are in an airport. And much of that collection would be implemented by, quote-unquote, private companies. Even rental car companies are getting in on the action. CBP says it will store that facial recognition data for 2 weeks for U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents, and for 75 plus years.
For non-U.S. persons.
For non-U.S. persons. 75 plus
75 years. Oh, my. That's how... It's already a real pain. If you're not an American and you're trying to come to the U.S., it's already a real pain to get in. The officer, if they don't like the way you look or you set them off some way, they will go nuts on you.
They will. But storing the data for 75 years is certainly a bit extreme. They might intend to. I'm not even sure whether or not data that exists today will still be available within 75 years. That's a bit long-reaching. But
they still got floppy disks.
They do, but the logistics of taking data on a floppy disk and moving it onto like a USB flash drive is pretty intense. Add another 75 years to that, and it may not actually be possible. This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment with more of this discussion.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading around $1,277. Silver at $14.88, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,506. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, an unprecedented new study released Thursday reveals that the U.S.-led bombing campaign on Raqqa, Syria in 2017, which one military commander at the time claimed was the most precise air campaign in history, killed an estimated 1,600 innocent civilians, while leveling the city on a scale unparalleled in recent decades. The anti-media reports the research collated almost 2 years of investigations into the assault and gives a brutally vivid account of the enormous number of civilian lives lost as a direct result of thousands of coalition airstrikes and tens of thousands of U.S. artillery strikes from June to October 2017. The report is detailed on the interactive website created by the investigative news organization Air Wars and the human rights group Amnesty International USA, which carried out what they call the most comprehensive investigation into civilian deaths in a modern conflict. The findings confirm that the U.S.-led coalition has admitted to just a fraction of the civilian carnage it caused in Syria, even as it has boasted of the care it's taken in avoiding such casualties and the precision of the offensive. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices, with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Following U.S. declarations that Washington and its allies intend to take Iranian crude exports down to zero by canceling waivers previously granted to 8 nations, tensions are now soaring over the Strait of Hormuz, with Iran's elite Revolutionary Guards attempting to lay down the law amid fears the U.S. Navy could move to block Iran's access, given the IRGC's new terror designation. The anti-media reports that on Wednesday, Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif said if the U.S. intends to pass through the Persian Gulf's vital choke point, the waterway's narrowest strait routinely patrolled by Iran's military, it must dialogue with those who defend it. Zarif's words were essentially a provocative declaration that the U.S. military must ask Tehran's permission to enter the strait. However, he elsewhere explained that he does not believe that President Trump wants war with Iran, but he could be lured into one by his more hawkish advisors. The Electronic Privacy Information Center has formally accused Google of scanning billions of personal files of users at the request of the U.S. government. Epic recently filed a friend of the court brief alleging that Google is helping the U.S. government conduct warrantless searches by scanning user files in search of potentially illegal content or evidence of crimes. The brief came in response to United States v. Wilson, a case where Google scanned images of billions of users' files in an attempt to track images of missing children, reported by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. After scanning the images contained within user files, Google contacts law enforcement to share information on individuals who may have images of missing children. The Mind Unleashed reports the entire process happens without permission from users or a warrant issued by the court. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Following morning reports indicating that Philadelphia High School for the Performing Arts student Samantha Bylum deals with really weird social pressures on a daily basis, Onion reporters met with the 16-year-old dance student who described feeling regularly alienated from her peers for extremely bizarre reasons.
If you're not up to date on the latest urban street art or Esperanza Spalding albums, the other students will eat you alive. It can get pretty brutal. Just the other day, everyone cut class to go watch the $1 Million Quartet musical at the Forest Theater, but nobody told me. Now I'm the only one that hasn't seen Lance Guest's rendition of Folsom Prison Blues. It's humiliating.
According to Bylum, the school year shows no sign of letting up as she continues dealing with the everyday stresses of auditioning for the school's production of My Fair Lady, keeping up with the latest punk Afrofusion dance groups, and not having enough fishnet sleeves to wear throughout the week.
Honestly, I don't know how the other students deal with it.
Keep checking theonion.com for more as this story develops.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom. I'm your host, as always, Arya DeMezzo of SoundCloud. I actually wrote the music that you're hearing right now. You can listen to it at soundcloud.com/Arya DeMezzo. That's ARIADIMEZZO. And I'm joined in the studio, as always, by
Michael Hampton from BitcoinHistory.com.
And we've been talking about the surveillance state, but I would like to move on to something else because it's a bit more humorous.
There's always something else.
Yeah. So the House voted recently to reject whites. Oh my God, these stupid ads. I hate the internet so much. So on Tuesday, the House of Representatives voted 424-1 on Tuesday to reject white supremacy after outrage over Iowa Republican Representative Steve King questioned why using the term is considered offensive.
Who was the one?
I don't know. I would assume Steve King would be the one. So just before the resolution of disapproval passed, King took to the House floor to defend himself. Yeah, so evidently it was him. To defend himself amid a fierce backlash over his remarks in an interview published last Thursday, in which he's quoted as saying, "White nationalist, white supremacist, Western civilization. How did that language become offensive?"
Gee,
well,
I don't know.
White nationalism might have become offensive around the time that white nationalists rounded up and killed like 6 million Jews. That may have been when that happened. And white supremacists may have become offensive to use around the time of, slavery and colonialism. All of those things motivated by white supremacist ideology. They were actually pretty upfront about it. Andrew Jackson even referred to it as manifest destiny. So I would contend that these things have been offensive for quite a while, and that society's sitting around going, you know what, this is kind of messed up.
We should stop doing this.
It's probably a good thing. In trying to explain his use of the term white supremacist, King told his colleagues that ideology never shows up in my head. I don't know how it could possibly have come out of my mouth. He said his comments were taken out of context, that his question asking, how did that language become offensive, referred to the Western civilization part of the quote. Well, the same colonialism generally has been put forward by Western civilization. I mean, we fought 2 world wars, essentially over the quote-unquote right of European and American powers to colonialize the rest of the world. King read portions of the resolution rejecting white nationalists, saying, I reject the ideology that's noted here. Well, good on him. After he spoke, Democratic Representative Pramila Jayapal of Washington State said, Steve King of Iowa has made a trade in saying and public pushing fundamentally racist and unacceptable ideas. These racist beliefs, they should not be espoused by anyone, let alone a U.S. congressman.
Okay, I'll buy that.
So on Monday, GOP House leader stripped him of all of his committee assignments. The third-ranking House Democrat, James Clyburn, whatever, an African American, had sponsored the resolution that states the House rejects white nationalism and white supremacy as hateful expressions of intolerance that are contradictory to the values that define the people of the United States. King voted in favor, saying he agreed with this overall sentiment. Here we go.
Wait, so who voted against it?
The lone no vote came from Democratic Republican Bobby Rush, also an African American, who tweeted, "It is not strong enough. We need to censure Steve King." Well, the House GOP leaders did do that. So King has faced severe criticism from both sides of the aisle, including from Representative Liz Cheney, the third-ranking House Republican, who earlier said that King should find another line of work. Well, that's really for the people of Iowa to decide, not other congressional officials. I'm sorry to explain that to them. These comments are abhorrent and racist and should have no place in our national discourse. So he compared the Representative Steve King, of course, compared the fallout in regard to this questioning to the persecution of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's the part of this I found ridiculous.
Well, I don't believe in the existence of Jesus Christ, probably not as even a person.
But, there's the story there.
Yeah, and, what he experienced in the context of that story certainly sucked. But for all that I've been through, it seems even strange for me to say it, but I'm at a certain peace, and it's because of a lot of prayers for me, King told the Cherokee, Iowa crowd at a town hall on Tuesday. And when I had to step down to the floor of the House of Representatives and look up at those 400 and some accusers, we've just passed through Easter and Christ's Passion, and I have a better insight into what he went through for us, partly because of that experience.
What? No, you don't. You didn't go through anything like that.
Well, I got to admit, it's probably intimidating to look up at 400 people who are condemning you. But I think what happened to Jesus in the context of the biblical story was a bit more intense than that.
Yeah, just a bit.
The congressman went on to cite being true believers and a strong Christian ethic as heavily impacting his office and who he is as a person. Well, I don't disagree. You seem to.
By what definition of Christian is white supremacy, white nationalism, racism? No.
Well,
this is not Christian.
I would argue it's neither Christian nor unchristian. In January, King publicly questioned why white supremacy is considered offensive. The month prior, he had won his 9th term. And again, they have the quote, "Why did I sit in classes teaching me about the merits of history and our civilization?" Yes, because the state wrote the history books, and the state was peddling an ideology of white supremacy and Western civilization being just in colonializing other territories.
Yeah, they were indoctrinating you like they always do.
So those comments obviously drew immediate backlash, with GOP members voting unanimously to remove King from his congressional committee assignments. And that 424-1, it really just stands out.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have been the only no vote against that.
Well, didn't they say the guy that voted no did so because it didn't go far enough?
Yeah, well, I would have voted no for different reasons. I would have voted no because the United States government should not be in the business of telling the American people what their ideas are, even if those ideas are ones that I find to be disgusting. It's not my call to make. I want to make one thing abundantly clear. I reject those labels and the evil ideology they define. I wonder if that includes the colonialism in parts of the world that is ongoing to this day. Does he support the war in Syria, the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan? Because if he supports any of those, then he is still for white colonialism.
He probably does.
And I'm sure he does. There are very few people in the House of Representatives who don't support those wars. So despite this rejection, King's official House website still links to VDARE, a website which describes diversity as a vulnerability. opposes most immigration and publishes what it describes as white nationalist writers. King has also drawn attention for retweeting Marc Collett, a neo-Nazi, and supporting Marine Le Pen, former French presidential candidate and head of the fascist political group, the United Front, the National Front. Yeah, so France did try to run Le Pen, and I actually expected her to win based on the victories that other hard-right politicians had during the time that she ran, but she didn't. She was actually defeated pretty soundly, as I understand it, which is good. She was an open white supremacist, if I remember correctly. I don't remember all of the details right now, but because I'm not French, so I didn't follow the French, election that closely. Well, this is a call to freedom. Steve King, you're a bit of an idiot, and you should probably remove those links. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Hey, I'm LRN.FM Program Director Ian Freeman. If you're listening to our free-to-air satellite feed in North or Central America, heads up! We've been on the Galaxy 19 satellite since 2010, but now our satellite provider is moving LRN.FM to a new channel on a different transponder. The current channel will stay on the air until the end of May to give you time to transition without any loss of service, so don't delay. I've posted the new channel details at sat.lrn.fm, but in case you're listening with no internet access, if you do a blind scan on your receiver, you should see the new channel at transponder 6, 11.8425 GHz, horizontal polarization, symbol rate 22,000, FEC 3/4. All that information is at sat.lrn.fm, as well as a link to our Patreon, where you can support our channels for just $2 a month. Visit sat.lrn.fm for more information about our international satellite channels, and thanks for listening to LRN.FM.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And as always, you're invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. Now, every single day that we broadcast Call to Freedom or Aria Uncensored, this is the live chat.
Why are you gay?
Oh, him, yeah.
You are gay.
What shows that I'm...
That's what always happens. I love that. I want that to be my ringtone, you know?
Why are you trans? You are trans.
I mean, it's not even that. You know, they don't generally ask me why I'm trans, which would be a fascinating question and one worth getting into. But instead they go, "You're gay." Okay,
how do you know?
I guess so. Technically, I think, technically I'm not gay. It depends on who you ask. It depends on your perspective. But sure, let's go with that. I'm gay. So what? What is the big deal there? Why do you care? So, speaking of being gay, the history of Star Trek. Gizmodo is asking, how queer is Star Trek? Well, I don't know about queer, but it's pretty, what is the word I'm looking for? It's pretty progressive and has always been.
Yeah, Gene Roddenberry was pretty far on the left.
He was. And that's one of my issues with the Next Generation is that, you know, they had invented the android, they had invented Data. And I think the reason they didn't carry the show too much further into the future after that was because if they actually sat down and thought about it, which they certainly did, because they had very good writers, very good science fiction writers, very good visionaries writing the show.
I know one of them. He's Gardner Goldsmith, lives up in Manchester.
Cool. Well, they would have realized that if you fast forwarded a few more centuries, someone certainly would have replicated Data. And whether Data opted to do it or was enslaved to do it is ultimately irrelevant, but these spaceships would have been controlled entirely by androids while humans just sat around getting fat and lazy and things like that. Very similar, in fact, to the movie WALL-E. That was the inevitable outcome of something like Data. So Star Trek is not just one of the longest running sci-fi franchises ever, it's also the most hopeful. The Federation represents the pinnacle of humanity, the idea that we can and will make a better life for each other. Yet despite Star Trek's message of a better future for all, LGBTQ+ characters are few and far between, and this exclusion has led to more than a few clashes between Star Trek creators and fans in the past. That's not true at all. Going back even to the Next Generation, they included what was, for all intents and purposes, a trans character being forced by her society to undergo conversion therapy.
Yep, I remember that episode.
It was a very good episode, a very progressive episode. So there was certainly LGBTQ representation.
It's also kind of sad. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but the ending was quite sad.
I don't mind spoiling a show that ended in the 90s.
Okay, well, if you haven't seen it yet, you're tune out because you're going to get spoilers. She did go through the conversion therapy, and she said she was happy with it.
If for whatever reason you have not seen The Next Generation, I would suggest you do so. Probably start with the last half of the third season. The first two reused a lot of scripts that they had written for the original series, and they feel that way. They're not very good. It wasn't until the Borg appeared that it really got good.
Well, they're not that. The first 2 seasons aren't that bad. They're okay.
They're not bad. No, but they are a distinctly different type of show.
If you're going to binge the whole thing, then yeah, sure, why not?
Well, if you're going to binge the entire thing, I would definitely recommend starting, halfway through the 3rd season. I would only recommend watching the first 2 seasons and the first half of the 3rd season after you've already fallen in love with the show, because it's of a entirely different nature. I mean, it feels more like the original series with a different cast than it does anything that came later. So for decades, queer people have been drawn to Star Trek. I don't know about that.
Really?
But whatever. And the shows have gained cult status within the gay community.
Really?
This is news to me.
Yeah, I'd never heard this before.
I know that a lot of the trans people that I know are very much into science fiction. Doctor Who is similar in this respect, in that we just sort of expect science fiction to be socially tolerant, and it generally is. I mean, can you imagine a homophobic science fiction? It doesn't even sit right.
Yeah, it just doesn't compute.
So to answer the question about why the gay community is in love with Star Trek, we need to slingshot around the sun and time warp back to the original series. A show with so much sparkling chemistry between its male heads that Kirk and Spock became the OG ship, launching 1,000 fan fictions. While back in the 60s were painstakingly typed out on typewriters and handed around at conventions. So, gross. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. Kirk and Spock, no.
No. They probably do have some sort of, chemistry going on there that a lot of people are seeing sexual tension in. But I don't know. I hate the original series.
Yeah,
I
never really got into it.
The few episodes I've seen had such terrible production value and such terrible writing that I just could not sit through it. So Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry did not vocally oppose the fans interpreting Kirk and Spock as lovers. Well, as I understand it, Kirk probably would have banged Spock.
Oh, Scotty? Oh, that would have been...
He probably would have done Scotty too, as I understand it. Always a supporter of fan works, Roddenberry attended many of the first conventions and encouraged his writers to read fanzines. And although these didn't include slash fan fiction, he wasn't unaware of this fan response to the show. When interviewed in 1979 for the book Shatner, Where No Man, Roddenberry was asked what he thought of the fan belief that Kirk and Spock were in love. His response was thoughtful. Yes, there's certainly love overtones, deep love. The only difference being we never suggested in the series that there was any physical love between the two. But we certainly had the feeling that the affection was sufficient for that, if that were the particular style of the 23rd century. So...
That's a cop-out.
Yeah, that is a cop-out. That's like saying, well, yeah, I mean, they have chemistry, sure. But it wasn't just the homoerotic subtext. I don't know about this homoerotic subtext.
Yeah, I never got the homoerotic subtext. My gaydar must be malfunctioning.
I have not seen enough of the original series to know. No, and I wasn't criticizing the original series for having bad effects. That was just one of the problems I had with it. Also had bad writing. It had bad acting. It had bad everything. The effects were just the most obvious and prominent issue.
Well, obvious
with the original series. And this is the Call to Freedom, where we're going to talk more about Spock and Kirk having the old gay sex.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Do you ever say, I could care less, when you really mean the opposite? You mean to say, I couldn't care less. It's a common mistake. You are judged by how you speak, especially if you're looking for work, with so many more applicants than openings now. But even if you're not, avoiding common misstatements will help you make the most of the dozens of conversations and transactions that crowd your daily routine. So whatever you say, don't say whatever as a single word sentence. It's the most annoying expression in the American English language, according to a recent poll. And avoid cliches like the plague. Just kidding. But seriously, at the end of the day, you'll want to avoid this scenario, sounding like everyone else. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom, and you're invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160, or you can use the Discord call-in lines at discord.lrn.fm if you would prefer the clearer quality that you get from an internet phone call, because it's staggeringly better than with a landline. So if you're going to give us a call, we prefer that. Plus, I mean, we can screen people there, get to know people there. We're always there chatting. You can see us when we start streaming our video games and things like that. Because I play Smite quite a lot. I'm often streaming it. So, I mean, join it. Join the conversation there at discord.lrn.fm. You're missing out if you're not on there. Because there's always something interesting to talk about in one of the many, many chat rooms that we have. So we're talking right now about alleged homoerotic subtext that LGBTQ fans subscribe to in Star Trek.
I never saw it.
I've never seen much of the original series, so I wouldn't know. I don't think there was any within the original series.
Yeah, Kirk would go after practically anything that was like female, human, alien, whatever species. But homoerotic? I don't know. I never saw it.
Well, the message of acceptance and a future where one could love whoever they wanted inspired a number of people, evidently. And the show obviously had a comparatively broad scope of representation in terms of race and gender. It certainly did. So all in all, it's just long appealed to the queer community, according to Gizmodo. We watch Star Trek because it gives us the rare opportunity to see a version of the future where we also have a place among the stars. Or at least, in theory, it does. Because unfortunately, there is a divide between what the Federation claims to be and what it actually is. Ooh, this might actually get interesting because they're not wrong. The Federation, as many people have noted, if you look beneath the surface of what is happening on Earth, it's a totalitarian communist nightmare. It would have to be.
Yeah,
in order
pretty much.
to sustain any of the other stuff going on there. So Star Trek's writers want us to believe that the Federation is a utopian society where the social problems of the past have been solved. And yet nothing is ever that simple, and fiction can't help but be a product of its time. The Federation might be beyond sexism, racism, and homophobia, but its creators certainly aren't, which became more evidence as the years wore on and fans started to demand canon gay representation. So rather than focusing on any of the issues underlying the actual Federation, what they're saying is that Star Trek isn't actually, the show isn't what it claims to be. Well, that's very different from saying that the Federation isn't what it claims to be. Trek's vision of a utopian future was perhaps strongest in The Next Generation, as the crew of the Enterprise D traversed the galaxy, solving conflicts with diplomacy and staying true to the Federation's values. Well, sometimes.
More or less.
Yeah, more often than not, I don't think they actually did. They pretended to, and they seemed to want to. But when push came to shove and they saw different outcomes or different possibilities, they generally abandoned things like the non-interference policy.
The prime directive?
Yeah, but I mean, I call it the non-interference policy because it's something that we can contextualize and understand here on Earth, because it's a foreign policy that is smart and sensible and advocated by Ron Paul. They typically denigrate it as being isolationism, but it isn't. If Star Trek did not espouse isolationism in its dealing with developing worlds, then saying we're not going to get involved in the affairs of this other country are also not isolationism. With this new era of possibilities came the idea that Star Trek could actually feature a gay character. And this was suggested to Gene Roddenberry during a Boston convention in 1987. And he pledged to introduce a gay character. This led to Blood and Fire, an unaired episode penned by David Gerrold in 1988 that has become infamous among LGBTQ fans. I've never seen it.
I don't remember an unaired episode that was...
I don't either, but I would like to watch it now. Eager to address the AIDS epidemic, Gerald's proposed script saw the... I wonder if that means it was unrecorded as well.
Yeah, if they never actually made the episode, then...
Yeah, so it's not an unaired episode. It's just a not made episode. If somebody wrote a script and it was rejected, which happens quite a lot. But anyway, the script saw the Enterprise crew encountering a ship infected with Regulan bloodworms. Ew. The solution called for Enterprise officers to donate blood, a plot point that Gerald hoped would encourage viewers to do the same. I wanted us to put a card at the end of the episode saying you could donate blood. Contact your local Red Cross. Aboard the infected ship were two male characters in a committed romantic relationship. Tertiary characters at best, the two men only appeared in Blood and Fire, and their relationship was established in a few lines of dialogue. How long have we been together? Asks a one-episode character. Since the Academy, replies the other, and nothing more is said about it. As representation goes, it was refreshingly matter-of-fact. Or it would have been had the episode ever made it to air. Or been recorded. It's unclear now. which it actually was. So in the decades since, opinions have differed on why the episode was canned. According to Gerald, in his interview, producer Rick Berman raised concerns that the subject matter was too risque for the next generation's time slot, and that it would cause the show to lose viewers. This led to weeks of heated debate among the staff writers, resulting in the episode being axed, and Gerald furiously quitting the series. While we don't know exactly what went on behind the scenes, it seems safe to say that there were concerns among the producers that showing gay characters on screen would hurt ratings. Roddenberry, however, did not give up on his promise to fans, although he wouldn't live to see it fulfilled. So I don't know what they're talking to now.
Wikipedia says they never actually filmed the episode.
Well, then, so it's not unaired at all. It was just a rejected script. Why would they characterize that as some sort of lost, unaired episode when it was just a rejected script? That happens quite a lot. Seems like a lot of crying over nothing, really. I mean, sure, if they had recorded the episode and got ready to broadcast it and was like, oh, no, we can't do this, that would be one thing. But having just this guy write this script that contains these gay characters and submit it and having them go, no, we don't want to do this, that's not unairing an episode. That doesn't make it an unaired episode. I can write a script for Star Trek that won't make it an unaired episode. I think unaired episode connotates having been recorded.
At least recorded partially.
Yeah, and with the intention, perhaps, of airing it. So
let's say unproduced.
Yeah, there we go. That's better. Apparently, they're pointing to The Outcast as the first LGBTQ scene, which is the one we mentioned earlier. The writers tackled the themes of sexuality, gender, and ostracism. In the episode, Riker falls for Soren, a member of an androgynous race who happens to identify as female in defiance of the accepted neutral gender. Soren is ultimately forced to undergo treatment, a brainwashing procedure that is a clear criticism of conversion therapy, which was a bold stance to take in 1992. For Jonathan Frakes, however, the writers fell short of making a real impact. He said, "It seemed to me that it was such a great opportunity, since Roddenberry had always taken such pride in addressing these issues, to cast a man in that part instead of a female actor." I mean, that was the message of the whole show. But we had this girl, and we put a puck wig on her to make her look unisex. I don't know. It was very bizarre. I tend to agree. It probably would have had a stronger statement if they had put a man in that role. And I mean, kudos on Jonathan Frakes, who also did the show Beyond Belief, which was pretty entertaining, for, being willing to make that stand, evidently around 1992.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little surprised to find that conversion therapy was considered acceptable at any point in time in our nation's history, but much less as recently as 1992. Where I would have expected that sort of thing to have begun to fall out of favor in these society's eyes. Well, this is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment with more humorous takes on the absurdities that are being presented as just this huge travesty, this lost era to the LGBT community.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselawclub.com. lighthouselawclub. That's lighthouselawclub. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live.
When there are cameras around, it doesn't make a difference. There were people with video cameras all over this event yesterday.
It looked like these people were trying to get away,
Yes,
honestly.
they were. Yes, they were. They were
these
being
weren't
shot.
people rushing towards the cop phalanx.
Nope.
That's right.
They were trying to get away.
And those batons weren't rubber like the bullets were.
They were either trying to get away or they were members of the news media trying to cover the event.
Right.
Police are supposed to be there to protect and serve.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, to be peace officers. And instead, they're creating war.
And, of course, the chief of police is claiming he'll investigate. What they're going to investigate, I don't know. It's going to be very difficult to identify the officers in this video footage because there were so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
There was an army of police officers out there, and every single one of them was participating in the attack on unarmed, innocent people.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom, and maybe you listen regularly to the show and have been wondering how you can help and show your support. Well, social media shares certainly go a long way, but so does cash, and you can do that using Patreon at patreon.com/calltofreedom. Our wonderful patrons there are currently helping to keep the show up and running, including the podcast at calltofreedomlive.podbean.com. And we can't thank them enough for their support. Once again, that's patreon.com/calltofreedom. If you would like to check it out, we certainly would appreciate it. I'm actually becoming more active with it, like posting each day when we go live, including a link to the live stream, which only supports YouTube, but that's also going to prove to be an interesting way of directing people to the YouTube channel. So all cool things.
It's helpful.
Yeah. Of course, it's not super, but it's good. Not bad considering, this show in this incarnation is basically like 2.5 months old, maybe at the most.
Yeah, it's a good start, right?
Yeah. So it's doing well. I'm enjoying it. So we've been talking about the queer representation in Star Trek. But prior to that, we had a conversation about the Satanic Temple and how the IRS has actually granted tax-exempt status to the Satanic Temple, which is interesting to me because I have not long been considering, but for the past few weeks, I have been considering starting a Satanic church here in Keene. So we're joined now by Eric of Kansas City, who says he's watching the show on YouTube. So what are your thoughts on the subject, Eric?
So I'm a Christian.
inherently, I'm not, and not just because of teams, but I'm against anybody trying to represent Satanism. And I'm not against you as a person, but I'm against the movement. However, I think it's your right as an American to express your religious beliefs. I don't really know exactly what your beliefs are. When you say like you're a Satanist, is that? I mean, I know there's like different classifications where ones just actually worship the devil versus ones that it's more of just like a name, like they don't really worship the devil. I don't know where you stand on that.
Well, I'm actually an atheist. I don't believe that Satan exists. The satanic thing is really just for shock value, I suppose. I mean, when I was younger, I was into Wicca and Satanism and all of that, but I was a young, stupid teenager then. I eventually became an atheist and was like, you know, yeah, I don't believe any of this to be true, but, you know, I like shock value. Some people have called me a shock jock, in fact. So Arya Dameso opening a satanic temple would not be terribly surprising to a large number of people. They'd be like, oh, well, of course, if there was going to be a satanic temple, who else would have opened it here in Keene? But the ideology is generally put forward by typical Satanism, as we understand it in the United States, is one of peace and love that just sort of uses the devil or Baphomet or Satan in a way that Christians don't. So they sort of invented their own Satan for the most part. I mean, you do have the angsty teenagers who believe they're worshiping a dark god who grants them, you know, magical powers and things like that. Those people do exist, but they're rare.
Mean, it's more than that. I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, we don't have to get too big. I mean, I think you underestimate. I mean, there's the people who truly worship the devil. I mean, I don't really know anybody now personally, but like I've seen it. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's just, I understand because I used to be an atheist. I understand the whole contrarian thing.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily contrarianism. I have a bent toward rationality and reason and evidence. And when it came down to it, Christians had none of that. So I turned to other religions because I had been convinced at that point that there was a deity. So if Christianity was wrong, some other religion had to be right. That was the perspective I took.
Okay, sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off. But I mean, I thought you did say that you're an atheist at first, but now...
No, I'm an atheist now.
It sounds like you're saying that you do believe... Okay.
Yeah, I was not then.
Then
when I first left Christianity, I explored other religions because I was convinced that there was a deity, because I have been raised from, the Southern Baptist tradition through most of my life.
Yeah, I understand.
To believe that there was a God, but I decided that, the Christians to which I had been exposed must have been wrong. So it had to be some other religion. Yeah. I explored a number of religions. It really doesn't matter to get into the specifics of them. But ultimately, I realized that I was on a quest for something that I was never going to find because it wasn't there. And it was at that point, sometime in my early 20s, that I became an atheist.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, now that you've kind of come, I don't want to say full circle, but I mean maybe for you full circle, like, why do you, because if you, like, that Christians believe at least that Satan is evil and represents everything evil. So by calling yourself that, even though I understand that you're not intending anything, I mean, you're pretty much aligning yourself against Christians.
Well, there are reasons for that. There certainly are reasons for that. Christians are the dominant power here in the United States. So I think a religion that opposes them is probably a good thing. But that aside, Christians are incorrect. Even within the confines of their own theology, they're incorrect. The devil, Satan as it were, is absolutely not responsible for the existence of evil. And this is stated clearly within the book of Job and within the book of Isaiah.
Well, that doesn't. Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely know that a lot of Christians will say that, but I still don't. I mean, God created God created the devil, but at least both in the Christian belief. I mean, what I believe, but
right.
It doesn't mean that. It's like. Okay, I kind of lost my train of. I mean, I know what you're saying. It's like.
Well, there's also the Luciferian aspect to it, which is that the similarities between Prometheus of Greek mythology and Lucifer, as he's expressed in the book of Genesis, are almost one-to-one. Whereas Prometheus brought humanity fire, Lucifer, and this is according to the biblical account, Lucifer brought humanity the ability to use reason. And just like Zeus got really angry at Prometheus and punished him, Yahweh, or Jehovah, whatever you call him, got really mad at Lucifer and punished him for doing that.
It's almost like
that's sort of why Lucifer is referred to as the light
in all these
bringer.
religions. Yeah, and I think that it's overall. It's just I think it's kind of everything's encapsulated in sort of in metaphorical terms. I'm not a fundamentalist by any means of the sort. It's just I just feel like it's almost like. I don't want to. I know because this is like the classic like Christian reason and stuff. I'm not saying that you believe in God almost, but it's almost like you kind of like you're putting yourself as a Satanist rather than just saying you're not an atheist. It's almost like you realize what. It's almost like you're embodying this instead of like you're almost saying that it's real.
Well, to an extent, yeah. And Eric, thank you for the call very much. You're not entirely incorrect. It's sort of similar to the flying spaghetti monster thing as we were discussing, in that in order to make this point, it requires professing to believe this thing that one doesn't necessarily believe. The people who go to the DMV to get colanders taken on their driver's license photos aren't necessarily actually believers in the existence of a flying spaghetti monster. One would hope. I think they will be eventually, and that's my main criticism of that whole Pastafarian thing.
Yeah, right now it seems like a big joke, but people might take it seriously later.
Right. And the same is sort of true in regard to Satanism, with the exception that Satanism, as generally put forward, has a clear ideology that is built on peace, love, and the growth of humanity's quote-unquote spiritual essence, where we're ultimately responsible for our growth. We're responsible for our decisions. We're responsible for everything that we do, which stands directly opposed to the Christian idea that we are either the puppets of Yahweh in his deterministic worldview, or we are so sinful that sin prevents us from having actual free will, because we are bound by destiny, by our human nature that Yahweh gave us to be sinful. Well, this has been the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere, though, because Free Talk Live is coming up next.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about
listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.